Hi, and welcome back to my Crafty Hen House. My name is Elaine. Today I have you in my office, and I'm going to talk to you today about seeds and getting prepared to grow your spring garden. What I'm going to focus on is I'm going to run down how I prepare to set up for my garden the next season. Whether it's your spring garden or your fall garden, you need to have a plan. We have so many seeds that we collect throughout the year, the successes and the failures in our garden, but really we should start with a plan. And a plan that I've chosen is I set up a spreadsheet on my computer, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do that, how I get the information on the seeds that I decide to plant and the order that I decide to plant them. As you can see, I have a plethora of seeds here. I have this whole box, which came from Botanical Interest, and they run yearly sales. They may have a really nice sale going on right now. They send you some free seeds, but I have all of these seeds as well as an overflow of seeds here that I get from Baker Creek. And I also have my container full of seeds here. And I have each of my little bins labeled with separated with either the peppers or the peas, radishes. I have leafy for all of my spinaches and my lettuces, cucumbers, and you can see I have them all labeled. These are great little containers. I bought this container off from Amazon, and it's actually for storing photos. And you can see this is a mixed vegetable, some flow-overs of my beans. And today I'm going to concentrate on, let's do peppers, because I love my nata pinas. And let me see if I can find tomatoes right here. Now, the items that I put in my garden may not necessarily be the fruits or the vegetables or the flowers that you can grow in your area. I live in Zone 10A, and we have pretty harsh summers. We can grow pretty much all year long. We can grow into the winter. Right now, we're going to start some tomatoes and get those started up in some pots. We can grow some flowers, maybe some cucumbers. Anything in ground grows really well. So we were going to take this time and clean out the garden from our summer garden after that is all died off, save what seeds we can save, and move on and prepare the soil to get ready to plant our fall or our winter garden down here. So this is how I set up my spreadsheet. This is on an Excel spreadsheet, and I start out by going to the top and I put gardens 2022 or whatever year. Across the rows we have sprouts. This is when your seeds will sprout. The day that you planted, the seed depth that you want to plant them, the spacing that each seed needs to be spaced or after you thin them out, how long it takes to your harvest day, and that generally will depend a lot about the weather. That's just to give you a rough estimate. Your harvest date, that is something that you can tentatively decide what your harvest date will be, and then will you regrow them or not with a checkbox. I also, when I put my tomatoes, these are all the tomatoes that I have inside of this box. And what you want to do is you want to give yourself a little bit of information. Over here I put do not prune determinate tomatoes. They will grow determinate size and an amount of fruit, which means they will only grow a certain size. And then I use tomato tone 1 to 2 months along. So as they're 1 to 2 months along, then I use the tomato tone. And I use biotone starter and organic land and sea to start my plants. That means I'm just giving myself notes on how to plant my tomatoes for my greatest success. And then as you go along, you will find, let's take for an example, the tomato yellow pear. So in the package for the tomato yellow pear, which is this tomato from Baker's Creek, on the back of it you will have information that will allow you to go ahead and fill in this information. How many days it takes to sprout, 7 to 14 days. This plant date is the date that you plant them. The seed depth is 1/8 of an inch. The seed spacing, or the spacing of the plants, how much room each plant needs, would be 24 inches. And then how many harvest day. Now this package didn't have the harvest dates on them, but I would assume it would be somewhere within the same harvest dates of any of these tomatoes along in here. So you could fill that in with a tentative date. And because they're smaller tomatoes, I would say you could get your information all from a cherry tomato packet. Then you would type in what your estimated harvest date would be, and after your harvest, would you regrow them again? And now let's try another one. Let's go down. We're going to scroll down and let's do one of my favorites, which is the Nata Pina. Nata Pina peppers. They are from Baker's Creek. They're one of my favorites. I'm actually able to save a lot of seeds, as you can see. And they are on the back, again, with the information that you have supplied on the back of your packet. You can go ahead and put in 7 to 10 days for them to sprout, the date that you planted, and you can see here where I had a date of 9/5 where I put in some datil peppers. I may have used that whole packet up. And then, let's see, plant them 1/4 of an inch deep and 14 inches apart. That means you want to thin your plants to 14 inches apart, and you're going to harvest between 55 and 80 days. That, again, depends on the weather. So as you can see, you can go all the way down, add cucumbers, beans and peas, onions, radishes. Here's my flowers, my root potatoes, sweet potatoes, and herbs, your berries, etc. And here's some information about the huckleberries. Must be cooked. Pick when very black and soft. So if you have any type of plant that is new to you, you want to make sure that you have the adequate information. And when you want to set this Excel file up, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to, let's see, you're going to open, or you're going to select new, and it's going to open up a new blank workbook spreadsheet, and you can go ahead and you can make your columns by moving the bar right or left to the size that you need. Always make sure that you save your work as you're working around in case you get a power outage or something happens that you need to walk away and your computer doesn't shut down, that you're constantly saving your work as you go. And then you can go ahead and print this off and keep this with your box of seeds and have a reference sheet of exactly what you have in your stock of seeds. So again, this is my spreadsheet that I use for my garden, and I've printed this out on landscape so that I can see all of the information and I can fill this in. You can go back on your program that you save on your desktop and just open it up and add this information as you need it. Again, on the back of each pack, this is my Nata Pina pack, and on the back of each pack you will have the information, and sometimes it's in the information here on the back of the pack that gives you what your sprout date is, what your harvest date is, how to, this is the tomatoes, and how to what depth to plant the seeds, and then how much spacing each plant needs so that you thin out. If you're a gardener that plants an entire row of, say, these little tomato plants, and then you go through and you pluck out the smaller plants so that you have adequate spacing. Or you might be a gardener that starts your seedlings on trays under a lamp, and as your seedlings start to grow, then when they're mature enough, you can take them out and plant them appropriately spaced, and all you'll have to do is go back with your spreadsheet. Now, not all of my seeds are, of course, on this list. These are seeds that I'm working with right now. That I list on here. Occasionally I'll come across maybe a flower or sunflowers or a different berry that I would put on in my computer on my list. And I'll take this time over the winter to go through all of my seed packets to see what I have in there, to see if there's a variation that I might like to try, and go ahead and add them to this list. There's some seeds on here that did not do well for me, or that there was a pack on here that were too old and did not sprout at all. So therefore I was able to eliminate that pack of seeds and take it off this list and replace it with something that is going to do well, or that I'm at least going to try. This is a really, really good way to figure out what grows for you, as well as when it grows for you. You can learn from your successes and your failures just by keeping these really good notes. It's always good to have something to fall back on, and when you're not in a season of planting, you can just sit and really look at this information, make your notes, go ahead, go back to your computer and put this information onto your spreadsheet so that it's readily there when you're getting ready to go out and plant your garden. So I hope this information was helpful today as you start to prepare for your next garden and growing season. I know this helps me tremendously. I can just grab and go. I know what seeds I'm going to plant. I know where I'm going to plant them. It's just very, very helpful. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me, and God bless.